This is Charter Local Edition. I'm Brad Pomerance in Nashville, Tennessee, the state capital. We're joined today by Susan Lynn. She is a member of the Tennessee House of Representatives. Much more importantly than that, though, she's a grandma, if you can believe it. She has 5 grandchildren. Her oldest is a young man named Ben. He's 5.
4.
4. He's not
4.
even, he's the ripe old age of 4. He'll be
4
5
years
when?
old. Next year.
Okay, so
He
he's
just turned
really,
4.
so he just turned 4.
He did.
Tell us about the
Yeah.
little bugger.
Oh, he's beautiful. He was born just a beautiful, healthy baby
Right.
boy. Parents are so proud. My daughter and her husband, just so proud, and he's just the light of our lives.
I can only imagine. And now he has 4 cousins or
He does.
siblings and
He does.
cousins.
It's happened fast.
It really has. But something happened to Ben when he was 23 months old.
Yes.
And it really rocked your world, your daughter's world, your son-in-law world. I mean, your entire family.
Right.
What happened to Ben?
Just before his 2nd birthday, Ben got very sick. He had a number of symptoms. My daughter didn't know what those symptoms meant, but he was very lethargic. Wasn't running a fever, but obviously he was feeling very sick. She brought him to the doctor, and the doctor said it's a virus. Come back on Monday if he's not better.
Okay.
The next day he was so sick. I urged her to go to Vanderbilt Children's Emergency, and she did. They arrived, and within 5 hours they learned that Ben actually had type 1 diabetes. Type 1 diabetes is often misdiagnosed in the doctor's office, and I really think a lot of it is that parents don't understand the symptoms, so they don't translate those symptoms to the doctor.
Especially at 23 months. I mean, we all know kids that got diabetes when we were growing up, but they got it at 8 or 9, so they could be more verbal with their symptoms. I mean, Ben at 23 months, is that particularly young?
I have known people whose newborns had diabetes when they were born, and type 1 diabetes is not like type 2. In fact, people wish it didn't even have the same name.
I hear
Type
you.
1 is an autoimmune disease. You don't get it from eating too much sugar. You don't get it from an unhealthy lifestyle.
And there's nothing you can do. You can't
Nothing.
change your diet. You can't get on the treadmill. I mean, literally, that portion of your body which produces insulin is no longer functioning.
That's right. Your own body attacks your pancreas, and you stop producing insulin. And then for the rest of your life, you're on daily life
Right.
support of insulin injections for the rest of your life.
And what's so scary is one can fall into a diabetic coma, and that's it. And like you said, your daughter didn't anticipate this. I mean, she was fortunate that she decided to go to the ER, and God bless Ben, because 2 years later, he is quite the young man.
Yeah, he's doing really well.
But let's talk about what this has done to Grace. I don't want to say to Grace, because that's, in a way, it's acting as if she's a victim. She's not. She's a strong mom.
Yeah.
She's a strong mom, and so's Ben. But how has their lifestyle changed?
Oh, immensely. You know, their kitchen has a big jug full of syringes. He's too young for an insulin pump.
He is.
It's the daily blood sugar checks on the fingers or the toes or wherever. 4 insulin shots a day. They have to get up in the middle of the night to check his blood sugar.
Will that change as he gets older?
No, every diabetic has to wake in the middle of the night because your blood sugar basically drops 10 points an hour. And so sometime in the middle of the night, you have to wake and check your blood sugar, possibly to eat something to raise your blood sugar again. And so as parents, they have to get up in the middle of the night and check his blood sugar. And sometimes they have to wake him up and give him some juice. Or
How is he managing? I mean, now I presume he can talk,
Yeah.
so he can verbalize, I don't want a pinprick, I don't want a shot.
Yeah.
Or is he, is he able to recognize this is important?
When he was first diagnosed, they were very afraid that he would resist the shots and the blood sugar checks, and he really didn't. Now he's just beginning to realize that that's different, that his sister doesn't have
See that?
insulin
Yeah, right.
injections and all of that. He's just begun to say, "Mommy, that hurts," and so that's really painful for our daughter. He's still very cooperative with it. He's also just begun to say, alert Grace when he feels low, when his blood sugar is falling.
That's,
Yeah.
boy, I mean, that is a gifted young man.
Yeah.
to think that
you
is
feel
able.
yourself. You feel the blood sugar falling, and it's confusing.
But still, for him to be able to have the presence of mind at the age of 4 to say, "Mom."
Yeah. Vanderbilt gave them some wonderful books to
Right.
a little bear who has diabetes, and so
Right.
she reads the books with him so that it just helps him understand the condition.
So in my family, we have cousins that are, there's a cousin here with type 1, a cousin there with type 1. In your family?
No, nobody.
No, yeah, see, you just never know.
No.
In the final analysis, it just happens.
Yes, they don't know why. They have
Right.
no idea why people get type 1.
So type 2 is a disease that, like you said, adult disease, that can be controlled and monitored in a very different way.
Yes, and it comes on in a different way.
Right.
It's generally because of lifestyle.
Right.
You know, really, you can recover from it
Of
as well.
course.
Type 1 you can't recover
Right,
from.
no,
It is lifelong.
So as a member of the General Assembly, how are you using, and I say this in the best sense, how are you using your platform to spread the message about juvenile diabetes?
Right. Well, I belong to a number of Facebook groups for parents of type 1, even though I'm
Right.
not a parent.
Yeah,
I'm
no,
in there.
no.
And they're closed groups.
Right.
But again and again, what I see is that children were diagnosed as an emergency in the emergency room. Some of them fall into comas. Some
Right.
of them have died.
So tell us the symptoms. So here, we have a form. Tell us.
Right. Well, the symptoms are excessive thirst,
Right.
excessive wetting.
Right. Bedwetting.
Yes, because or just going to the bathroom because of the excessive thirst, excessive hunger, weight loss,
Right.
And it builds up slowly. In retrospect, Ben was probably developing these symptoms for quite a few months.
Even you as a grandma can recall.
Yes, yes, because the pancreas is being attacked. You're making less and less insulin, and one day you just fall off the cliff, and that's
Right.
what happened the day you went to the emergency room. But prior to that, because you're making less and less insulin, your mood is changing, your behavior's changing.
Still,
so in
I
a
mean,
toddler, you can
but yeah,
imagine.
well, but for Grace, your daughter, I mean, he
She
could
didn't know
barely
what was-
speak. I mean,
she knew
God bless
something
her.
was
Yeah,
wrong.
but still, I don't want to. You do your best. And like
Yeah.
you said, if he'd been 5 or 6, maybe it would have been clearer. But your message is an important one. It can happen to a 2-year-old.
It can,
So watch.
right.
Watch for those signs. Watch
Right.
for those symptoms.
And ask your doctor when you go in. If the child is very sick, lethargic, doesn't have a fever, you might want to say, could you just check the blood sugar? It's a
Right.
simple finger
Right.
prick or a urine
Right.
sample. It's such an easy check.
So will Ben be moving toward a pump?
As he gets older.
Right.
Yes. Right now he's still on syringes because he's too small.
Now
and
when-
he has a little sister and
And now when you have a pump, do you still need to wake up? Does the pump deliver insulin, or do you tell the pump?
you have to tell the pump to deliver insulin. And there are 2 monitors. One is the pump that will pump in insulin. There's another one that will check the blood sugar every few minutes. It can be inaccurate, though. It can be within 10 points.
Oh, but presumably the pump will do its work without you having to pinprick?
Because there's another device that checks the
Right.
blood sugar. So it all goes to an iPod, and you can look at the blood sugar level on the iPod and then dispense the insulin through the iPod. You can do that. That's a little bit down the road for
It's all
Ben
good.
because he's got a little sister and they wrestle, and
I see, right.
they're afraid they'll kick it off
Of
or
course.
something like that.
Please give Ben,
4-year-old,
of
they
course,
wrestle.
Give him a big old hug from us,
Right.
and I honor you. I honor you for what you're doing, and send our best to Grace. What's Grace's husband's name, if I may ask?
Ben, they're both Ben.
So it's wonderful. Thank you so much for taking the time to tell us about this very important situation. Her name is Representative Susan Lynn. She is a member of the Tennessee House of Representatives. My name is Brad Pomerance. Stay healthy. This is Charter Local Edition.